welcome to the Pulse of Africa community. I hope you're doing great today. If you're joining us for the first time, don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe to stay informed and connected to Africa's most important news reports. Your engagements will help this video to reach more people. Thank you very much. I hope you remember in early May 2025, General Langley sparked massive controversy when he openly criticized the leadership of Burkina Faso, specifically its military president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, during a Senate hearing in Washington, claiming Burkina Faso's government is misusing gold reserves for the benefit of the ruling junta instead of the general population. That single statement ignited anger, not just in Burkina Faso, but across the whole Africa continent and the diaspora. The situation worsened when it became clear that General Langley was not only standing by his comments, but actively moving across African nations with a tightly packed agenda. Langley has already visited several countries between April and May 2025. He was in Ivory Coast from April 24th to 25th, where he met national leaders and addressed the opening ceremony of Flintlock 2025, a joint military exercise between the US, NATO, and African forces. After 20 years of Flintlock, our resolve is stronger than ever, Langley said in a statement. We are building capable forces to fight aggression and win on the battlefield. Unfortunately, the outcome had been opposite of the main objective of counterterrorism attacks. After 2 decades of US military presence in Africa, terrorism has not decreased, but rather expanded. And it will shock you to know that the same US who pledges to prevent terrorism are rather the ones funding these terror groups to destabilize Africa for their selfish interests. Hold on, because I'm going to show you the video which proves this claim.
Are you aware that we are sending $40 million a week to the Taliban?
Yes, sir.
Can you name other instances of foreign aid going to terrorist organizations?
We have assisted al-Shabaab in Somalia. There's been instances of the Khamsi network in Sudan, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Kataib al-Hezbollah, Hayat Tahrir al-Shams in Syria. Dozens of terror organizations have received indirect assistance from U.S. foreign aid.
From the clip you watched, you could hear it yourself, that the same U.S. which pledges to rescue Africans from terrorism are the same people funding these groups. How does that sound to you? This raises critical questions about who is truly benefiting from America's military involvement in Africa. Between April 14th and May 23rd, Langley took part in another military exercise called African Lion, hosted across 4 countries, including Morocco, Tunisia, Senegal, and for the first time, Ghana. With over 10,000 troops from 50 nations, African Lion is now the largest annual U.S. military event in Africa, and its stated goal is counterterrorism and safeguarding Western interests. On May 30th, Langley traveled to Nairobi, Kenya, to attend the African Chiefs of Defense Conference. There, he doubled down on his narrative that terrorism in the Sahel, especially in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, is growing more aggressive. He called the region the epicenter of global terrorism. Yet critics again asked, if the US has been present in this region for years, why are things getting worse? In response to increasing scrutiny, General Langley appeared to soften his tone in a recent media interview. When asked about his earlier remarks on Burkina Faso, he shifted from direct accusations to statements emphasizing the country's sovereignty. He said, Burkina Faso's government has the right to use its resources as it sees fit. While he still expressed concern about the growth of ISIS in the region, he framed his comments as mere caution from a military perspective, not political interference. This shift in language suggests a possible retreat by the US from its earlier aggressive stance, at least in public.
Ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that in order to the benefit of the strongman leader and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traoré and Burkina Faso, as they know that both whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime. There's a number of examples.
You are on African soil, not for the first time, but this would be a good moment to ask about one of the countries that has taken its own autonomy, and that's Burkina Faso. Your remarks recently at the Senate seem to suggest that he's diverting, that's General Traoré, is diverting its 4 billion gold reserves to sustain his military rule rather than for public welfare. These remarks sparked widespread condemnation across the continent. What did you mean by that statement?
Let me speak to Burkina Faso's sovereignty. They maintain their sovereignty. They make their decisions how they use their resources. They make their decisions who their resources go to for military support. That's their sovereign right. But my cautionary tale was just from a military perspective. That was a Senate Armed Services Committee asking me a direct question. Burkina Faso, a lot of great things going on to progress them forward, okay? But then when you look at the military part of it, knowing that that's the epicenter of global terrorism, it was my time to illuminate that this is probably their weakest point, and there needs to be sufficient resources going towards for the whole fight of terrorism in that country. Period.
This story isn't just about General Langley. It's about a bigger problem: foreign control over African affairs. Despite decades of independence, many African nations still struggle to assert full control over their territories. Military agreements with powers like the US often come with strings attached. Take the case of Burkina Faso. Captain Ibrahim Traoré rose to power promising to break the cycle of dependency and return resources to the people. For that, he's earned praise from some Africans, but condemnation from the West. The gold reserve controversy highlights a broader pattern. Whenever African leaders seek to nationalize resources or limit foreign access, they are branded as corrupt, authoritarian, or incompetent. This was the case with Libya's Muammar Gaddafi, Congo's Patrice Lumumba, and now Traoré. Meanwhile, military exercises like Flintlock and African Lion continue to expand. But where is the progress? According to UN reports and data from Sahel research institutions, more than 2.5 million people have been displaced due to terrorism and conflict in the Sahel alone. Civilian casualties are rising. Despite billions in aid and foreign troop deployments, security is deteriorating. So, what can Africa do now? One truth remains: foreign nations will always act in their own interest. The burden of responsibility falls on African leaders and citizens to protect their territories, economies, and institutions. We must build strong local armies, develop independent economies, and form regional coalitions that put African interests first. Cooperation among African states is no longer optional, it is essential. We must also rethink our relationships with global powers. Are these partnerships truly equal, or are they exploiting Africa's vulnerabilities? As General Langley continues his diplomatic and military tours, the question isn't whether the US should be in Africa. The real question is, what will Africa do for itself? The time has come for Africans to lead the fight against terrorism, to secure their own borders, and to manage their own resources. Only then can we escape the cycle of dependency and reclaim our full sovereignty. Thank you for watching Pulse of Africa. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe General Langley has changed his position, or is it just a new face for the same old mission? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a report. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay empowered.